Welcome to After Dark Creations Art and Review. I'm Jen, your artist and fangirl, here to share my love of cult and genre films with you. I'll be reviewing films and discussing points of interest from storytelling to cinematography and iconic imagery. Then I'll break down how the films inspire and inform my art. Just a heads up, there will be spoilers. This week, I'll be reviewing the seminal modern zombie film directed by the late great George Romero, Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead was released in 1968 and is the first film in Romero's Dead series. Currently, Night of the Living Dead has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 97% and an IMDb score of 7.9 out of 10. Night of the Living Dead is heralded as a landmark film for having an African-American protagonist and subtle political undertones. Now let's get to the plot, so if you haven't seen Night of the Living Dead, go watch it, then come back and check out this review. Also, why haven't you seen this film yet? It's a classic. Night of the Living Dead follows a group of survivors as they hide from mobs of the undead, which are referred to as ghouls, who seek to devour the living. Totally creepy premise. This film changed the depiction of zombies in cinema forever. In films like White Zombie, zombies were seen as living dead victims of voodoo or curses, but George Romero changed all of that. He made the dead rise and gave them the ravenous desire for human flesh. Night of the Living Dead touches on primal fears of death and the taboo of cannibalism. The political undercurrent of the time was expressed in the film through the depiction of roving mobs mindlessly devouring and destroying all. Romero's later Dead films would further address these concepts and explore consumerism and violence. Many of the characters in the film are compelling or irritating. Barbara, played by Judith O'Dea, is basically a catatonic mess for much of the film, and her character is the first character we're introduced to. But her usefulness is entirely based on the fact that she represents the unbridled terror of the situation and leads the audience to Ben, the true protagonist of the story, played by Duane Jones. For the most part, Ben is pragmatic and resourceful. He's a survivor, who at times seems to be the only character capable of rational thought. Ben and Barbara hold up in a farmhouse and try to survive the night, with Ben and Barbara encountering a few other survivors, including Tom and Judy, who are basically zombie fodder, and the Cooper family. The Cooper family, who are hiding in the basement of the farmhouse, provide a fantastic living foil to Ben and Barbara. The Cooper's daughter Karen contracted the zombie virus and eventually, to terrifying effect, devours the mother using a trowel. I had numerous nightmares of Karen as a child. She was the scariest character to me, and she encapsulated more fear and terror than any of the zombie horde. Karen solidified my fear of zombies, which became the only movie monster I was actually afraid of, besides clowns, but that's another story. The climax of the film sees Ben facing off with the zombie horde as they break through the barricade. He manages to survive, only to be shot by a posse who mistakes him for one of the ghouls. The ending is jarring, and the subtext of the fate of the protagonist is incredibly poignant. Now let's discuss how the film informs the art. As I stated before, Karen was the most frightening character, and the image of her reanimated corpse staring ravenously at her mother is beyond unsettling. When considering subjects to depict from the film, I had a myriad of striking images to choose. From Ben to the roaming zombie hordes approaching the farmhouse. Oh, fun fact, the organs the zombies were feasting on were actually sheep intestines and liver, as well as ham covered in chocolate syrup. But the image of Karen was the subject I chose because she embodied the horror of this film. The harsh light and shadow utilized in the scene where she is revealed as one of the undead was entrancing. The stark shadow, darkening her eyes and obscuring half of her face, was foreboding. Her dead, hungry gaze and her disheveled hair all lent to the disturbing image of an undead child. There's no gore, torn flesh, or parts of her face missing. She's not a rotting zombie, but she is terrifying nonetheless. Karen was the perfect subject. She encapsulated my fear and fascination with the film. Please let me know what you find inspiring about Night of the Living Dead. I'd love to discuss it further in the comment section below with you. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. If you'd like to see more of my art, you can click the links in the description below and follow me on social media. Until next time, I'm Jen, and let's keep it spooky, my friends.